Ladies and gentlemen, there's a powerful force at play in all of us, often beneath the surface, quietly shaping our lives and our experiences. It's not always obvious. In fact, it may seem like it's just the way we are, or the way things are, unchangeable, fixed. But I'm here to tell you, there is nothing about you that is truly fixed, unless you believe it is. Today, I want to talk about the unseen, the invisible force that can drive us sometimes into frustration, into confusion, and even into a state of self-sabotage. It's that part of us we don't talk about, that part we don't always admit even to ourselves. It's the unconscious programs running in our minds, creating reactions, behaviors, and feelings that control our lives from the background, often without our awareness. It's powerful, and if we're not careful, it can drive us crazy. We all have patterns. We've all been conditioned in some way, whether by our past experiences, by society, or even by the environment around us. And often, we don't realize just how deeply these patterns can affect us. Have you ever noticed how when you try to make a change, there's this voice, this thought that says, no, it's too hard, it's too late, it won't work? That's the programming. It's your mind resisting change. It's your mind holding on to the old patterns, the old beliefs, the old habits, because it's comfortable, even when that comfort is making you miserable. Now, imagine the situation you're in, the circumstances in your life that are driving you to frustration, to anger, to stress. What if I told you that those emotions aren't being caused by the outside world at all? What if I told you that the real source of the chaos in your life is you, and not in a bad way? You are creating these experiences with your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and you don't even realize it. Here's the thing, you can change. You can break free from the very patterns that are keeping you trapped. But that change requires something very important, awareness. It requires the willingness to step outside the box of your current identity and realize that who you are today is not who you have to be tomorrow. This individual I'm talking about, he won't admit it. He won't admit that his mind is running the show. He won't admit that it's his thoughts creating his reality, not the external events. But deep down he knows, he can feel it. What happens when we don't admit the truth to ourselves? We resist. We push against the very thing we need to embrace for transformation. We keep making the same decisions, thinking the same thoughts, living the same day over and over, and guess what? We get the same results. But let's take a step back. What if we began to observe our thoughts? What if we started to recognize when those old patterns of fear, anxiety, or frustration arise? What if we stopped reacting automatically and took a moment to choose something different? By choosing to break free from the chains of our unconscious mind, we can create an entirely new reality. We can choose to be someone different, not in the future, but right now. The key is this, awareness. When we become aware of the subconscious patterns we're running, we take away their power. We stop allowing them to control us. And from that point, we begin to create a new way of thinking, feeling, and being. One that aligns with our true desires, not the conditioned responses we've been living out. So let me ask you, what is driving you crazy? What in your life is causing you stress, anxiety, or frustration? What if, just by shifting your thoughts, by becoming aware of the patterns, you could completely change the outcome? He won't admit it, but deep down, he knows the truth. His mind is the source of his power and his chaos. And when he chooses to see this and act on it, everything will shift. You have the power you always have. It's time to stop letting the old mind, the unconscious mind, control you. It's time to step into your true potential. The question is, are you ready to admit it? Awareness is the foundation of all transformation. It is the moment when you realize that what's happening in your life is not just a series of random events, but the result of your own thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. This realization is the first step in reclaiming your power. Without awareness, we are simply living on autopilot, reacting to life instead of consciously creating it. Most people go through their day-to-day lives without ever truly observing the thoughts that pass through their minds or understanding how those thoughts influence their behavior and emotions. They're stuck in the automatic patterns of their subconscious mind, often unaware of how deeply these patterns affect their reality. When you become aware of your thoughts, you begin to recognize the influence they have on your life. You start to understand that it's not external circumstances creating your experience, but the internal world you've built through years of conditioning. Awareness gives you the ability to step back and observe the habitual thought patterns that guide your decisions, reactions, and emotions. For example, if you're constantly thinking about past failures or worrying about the future, those thoughts shape your emotional state and ultimately your actions. But once you become aware of these patterns, you can start to question them. You can ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Is it true? Can I choose a different thought? Awareness doesn't just stop at recognizing thoughts. It extends to understanding the way those thoughts affect your feelings and your body. It allows you to see the connection between your mental state and your physical experience. This deeper level of awareness empowers you to make conscious choices that align with the life you truly want to create, rather than being driven by unconscious, habitual thinking that keeps you trapped in the same cycle. Transformation is the process of changing not just your actions, but your entire way of being. It involves shifting from the person you once were, shaped by past experiences and conditioned beliefs, into a version of yourself that is aligned with your highest potential. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that starts from within. It begins when you choose to step outside of the limits of your current mindset and open yourself to new possibilities. This shift requires courage because it means letting go of old identities and familiar patterns of behavior that have defined you for so long. The path to transformation can be uncomfortable because it challenges everything you thought you knew about yourself and your capabilities. But true transformation comes when you begin to embrace change rather than resist it. Every choice you make, every action you take can either reinforce your current state or move you toward the new version of yourself you want to become. This isn't about external change alone, it's about internal change. It's about breaking free from the mental patterns and limiting beliefs that have held you back and adopting a mindset that supports your growth and evolution. When you start to transform your thinking, your entire experience of life begins to shift. You stop identifying with the problems of the past, the limitations of your environment, or the beliefs that no longer serve you. Instead, you become someone who actively creates their reality through conscious thought and intention. The process of transformation requires you to trust in your ability to evolve and to believe that change is not only possible but inevitable when you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the person you are becoming. It's a journey of shedding the old and stepping into the new, a journey that demands you to grow beyond what you once thought was possible. Consciousness is the lens through which we experience the world. It's not just about being awake or aware. It's about being present in every moment, understanding the depth of our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. Our consciousness shapes the way we interact with reality, and the more aware we become of this, the more control we gain over how we respond to life. When we are unconscious, we live on autopilot, reacting to situations based on automatic, conditioned responses rather than intentional choices. We don't realize that we are creating our reality moment by moment with our thoughts, emotions, and actions. We assume that life is happening to us, rather than understanding that we are the creators of our experience. To expand our consciousness is to wake up from this automatic way of living. It means observing the patterns in our thinking and being aware of how those patterns dictate our responses and experiences. It requires us to step back and recognize that we are more than the roles we play, the pasts we've lived, and the circumstances that seem to define us. Consciousness is a tool for empowerment. The more we expand it, the more we can change the way we relate to ourselves and the world. When we become conscious of our thoughts, we no longer have to be slaves to them. We can choose different thoughts that support our growth, peace, and well-being. Expanding consciousness also means understanding that the world around us is a mirror reflecting our inner state. The people we encounter, the challenges we face, and the opportunities that come our way are all shaped by the energy we carry within us. By raising our consciousness, we begin to elevate our energy, creating a ripple effect that transforms not only our inner world, but also our outer reality. Permissions are the invisible forces that govern much of our behavior and experiences. They are the repetitive thoughts, emotions, and actions that shape our lives, often without us even realizing it. These patterns form over time, created by past experiences, beliefs, and the way we've learned to navigate the world. They become so ingrained that they feel like an automatic part of who we are. However, these patterns aren't necessarily serving us. Many of them are rooted in fear, limiting beliefs, or outdated ways of thinking that no longer align with the person we want to become. The problem with these patterns is that they limit our potential. They dictate how we react to situations, how we perceive ourselves, and how we approach challenges. For example, if you've faced failure in the past, you may develop a pattern of avoiding risk, even when growth requires stepping outside of your comfort zone. Or if you've been told that you're not capable of achieving something, you may develop a pattern of self-doubt, preventing you from pursuing your true desires. These patterns create a feedback loop where the same thoughts and behaviors lead to the same results, trapping you in a cycle of limitation. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward breaking free from them. Once you become aware of how your thoughts, emotions, and actions are influencing your reality, you can begin to shift them. By consciously choosing different thoughts, reactions, and behaviors, you start to create new patterns that align with your goals and vision for your life. These new patterns, over time, will become just as automatic as the old ones, but this time they will be working in your favor. The key is understanding that patterns are not fixed. They can be changed, and in doing so, we can transform our entire experience of life. Mindset is the lens through which we view and interpret everything that happens in our lives. It shapes our beliefs, influences our decisions, and ultimately defines the kind of life we experience. A fixed mindset will limit our potential, keeping us stuck in old patterns and ways of thinking. It tells us that our abilities are fixed, that we are who we are, and that change is difficult or even impossible. This mindset often stems from fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But a growth mindset, on the other hand, opens up endless possibilities. It embraces challenges, welcomes learning, and believes that growth is a natural part of the human experience. When we adopt a growth mindset, we begin to see setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities to learn and evolve. We stop viewing challenges as insurmountable obstacles and start seeing them as stepping stones to greater understanding and mastery. A growth mindset encourages resilience, persistence, and flexibility, all of which are necessary to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life. It's about knowing that failure is not an endpoint, but a part of the process that ultimately leads to success. Our mindset influences how we perceive our circumstances, our relationships, and ourselves. If we approach life with a fixed mindset, we might believe that the difficulties we face are insurmountable, that we are stuck in a certain position or situation forever. But when we shift to a growth mindset, we begin to see opportunities where others might see limitations. This shift in perspective empowers us to take action, to move beyond our comfort zones, and to transform our lives from the inside out. It's through this mindset that we begin to tap into our true potential, unlocking the ability to create the life we truly desire. Reprogramming. The mind is the process of consciously replacing limiting beliefs and negative thought patterns with ones that support personal growth and well-being. Our minds are shaped by years of conditioning, experiences, teachings, and societal influences that create beliefs about who we are, what we can achieve, and what is possible in our lives. These beliefs often run in the background, unnoticed, but they have a profound effect on the decisions we make, the way we feel, and the actions we take. Over time, these beliefs become the framework through which we view the world, shaping our reality. If those beliefs are based on fear, scarcity, or inadequacy, they limit our potential and keep us trapped in cycles of self-doubt and inaction. Reprogramming is about interrupting this cycle. It's about recognizing the beliefs that no longer serve us and replacing them with new ones that align with our true potential. This process involves shifting the thoughts we entertain and consciously choosing new ones that reflect our goals, desires, and vision for our life. It requires patience and practice because the old beliefs, formed over years, have become ingrained. They can surface at times of stress or challenge, tempting us to revert to familiar ways of thinking, but with awareness and intention, we can choose differently. One key aspect of reprogramming is consistency. The more we practice new ways of thinking and being, the more the brain rewires itself to align with these new beliefs. By repeatedly affirming empowering thoughts, visualizing success, and taking action based on these new beliefs, we create new neural pathways that strengthen over time. These new pathways replace the old ones, slowly but surely shifting our mindset and our reality. The more we commit to reprogramming our mind, the more we open ourselves up to limitless possibilities and the ability to create a life that aligns with our deepest desires and potential. Emotion is the energy that drives our actions, shapes our perceptions, and dictates how we experience the world around us. It's not something we can simply ignore or suppress. Emotions are deeply intertwined with our thoughts and beliefs, and they influence everything we do. Our emotional state reflects our inner world, serving as a mirror to our mental and physical well-being. When we experience negative emotions, such as fear, anger, or frustration, it's often because our thoughts are in conflict with our desires or reality. These emotions are signals telling us that something within needs to shift or be addressed. When we allow our emotions to guide us rather than control us, we begin to tap into their true power. Emotion can be a powerful force for transformation, but only when we become aware of it and learn how to direct it in a way that serves our highest good. Emotions like joy, gratitude, and love carry a high frequency, helping to elevate our state of being and align us with the positive outcomes we seek. On the other hand, emotions like fear and anxiety can lower our vibration, keeping us stuck in cycles of self-doubt and limiting beliefs. To truly harness the power of emotion, we must first become conscious of how we feel and why. We need to recognize when we are being influenced by old, negative emotional patterns and choose to shift them. This doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring emotions, but understanding them, processing them, and then choosing a new emotional state. When we intentionally shift our emotions, we change the energy we are putting out into the world. This, in turn, influences how others respond to us and the opportunities that come our way. Learning to manage and elevate our emotions is key to unlocking our potential and creating a reality that is aligned with our desires. Self-sabotage is the unconscious act of undermining our own success, happiness, and well-being. It's a behavior pattern that often operates below the level of awareness, causing us to make choices that ultimately keep us stuck or prevent us from reaching our full potential. Self-sabotage typically arises from deep-rooted fears, limiting beliefs, or unresolved emotional wounds. These beliefs may have been formed in early life and are carried forward, often without us even realizing their influence. For example, someone who believes they are unworthy of success may unknowingly procrastinate or create obstacles when faced with an opportunity. Or a person who is afraid of failure may avoid taking risks, even though taking those risks is essential for growth and achievement. This self-destructive behavior is usually a defense mechanism, a way of protecting ourselves from the perceived pain of failure, rejection, or disappointment. It's easier to avoid something or sabotage it before it even happens than to face the possibility of not succeeding. However, this approach only reinforces the very beliefs that are holding us back. In reality, self-sabotage keeps us trapped in a cycle of unfulfilled potential and missed opportunities. To break free from self-sabotage, we must first become aware of it. We need to examine the underlying fears, beliefs, and emotional triggers that lead us to act against our best interests. Awareness alone is often not enough. We must also consciously challenge the patterns of thought and behavior that lead to self-sabotage. This requires replacing old, limiting beliefs with ones that support our growth, and it may involve reprogramming the subconscious mind to align with our desires. It's about learning to trust ourselves, embrace the unknown, and take the actions necessary for our success without the unconscious pull to hold ourselves back. This city is the collection of beliefs, experiences, and labels that we associate with who we are. It's the story we tell ourselves about ourselves based on everything we've learned, felt, and experienced. Our identity shapes our perceptions, our actions, and the way we navigate the world. For many, identity feels fixed, like something solid and unchangeable. We identify ourselves with our jobs, our relationships, our successes, and even our failures. We might say, I am a mother, a writer, a failure, a winner, and over time, these labels begin to define us. However, the truth is that identity is not as fixed as we often believe it is. What we think of as our identity is often a reflection of past experiences and old beliefs, not a true expression of who we are in our fullest potential. If we hold on to the belief that we are limited by past mistakes or external circumstances, that belief becomes a defining part of our identity, shaping our future actions and limiting what we think is possible. For example, someone who has always struggled with self-esteem may continue to identify as someone who is not good enough, even though this self-perception is not rooted in truth. It is simply an old belief that has become entrenched over time. The key to transforming our reality is to transform our identity. This means questioning the labels we've placed on ourselves and examining the beliefs that underlie them. Who are we beyond the roles we play and the things we've been through? When we choose to see ourselves as limitless, full of potential, and capable of growth, we begin to shift the very essence of who we are. Our identity can evolve when we consciously decide to rewrite the narrative and embrace the possibility of becoming someone new, someone who aligns with the highest version of ourselves. Power is the force that propels us toward our desires, shaping the outcomes of our lives. It's not an external thing, it's internal, rooted in our ability to make choices and take action. Many people mistakenly believe that power is something we either have or don't have, something given to us by circumstances or other people. In reality, power is something we each possess within us. It's the energy we generate through our thoughts, emotions, and actions. The way we perceive our own power directly influences how we experience the world around us. When we feel disempowered, it often comes from the belief that we are at the mercy of external factors, our past, our environment, or the actions of others. We give away our power when we allow these things to dictate our emotions and our choices. This disempowerment can manifest as feelings of helplessness, frustration, or a sense of being stuck in life. However, true power comes from understanding that we are the creators of our experiences. Every thought we think, every decision we make, and every action we take is an expression of our inner power. By owning this power, we can begin to shape our reality in alignment with our deepest desires. The key to unlocking this power is self-awareness. When we become conscious of the beliefs and thought patterns that limit us, we can begin to change them. We realize that our external world is a reflection of our internal world, and by shifting our mindset, we shift our reality. Power also comes from taking responsibility for our choices and the direction of our lives. It's about recognizing that we are not victims of our circumstances, but active participants in the creation of our experiences. Through this realization, we begin to take back control, step into our true potential, and consciously create the life we desire.